Welcome to Beyond the Circus. This is Dale Hummel, along with co-star Ryan Rash.
Hello, hello, hello.
And we have a special guest today that will be limited in what he's allowed to say.
He can say whatever the hell he wants to as far as I'm concerned, because he makes more sense than you do half the time.
And he can get on a tirade worse than me. So we do have my youngest son, Chase, and his main function today is going to give us some historical perspective where needed on the Soviet Union and Ukraine. So, Chase, are you with us?
Yep, I'm here. It's a pleasure to be on.
Excellent, Chase.
Chase is one of the most wonderful human beings in the world. I am very sorry that he has been cursed to have a father named Dale Hummel, but he has made it through brilliantly despite his challenges with his father.
Okay, with that said, we've had many requests for Beyond the Circus.
No, we have not. We have not.
I have.
You in your mind have had
all
million
kinds of
requests.
Mm-hmm. So we are jumping on. For the record, we're recording at 6 p.m. Sunday evening, just as we entered day 5 of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and Russia is yet to take a major city, which is shocking. I think that
there's only like 2.
Yeah, I know. So it shouldn't be that hard.
And they already took Chernobyl.
Just tell us a little bit about Chernobyl. Why would they take that?
I don't know, because it's got nuclear shit. I do not know.
Chase, what's the status of Chernobyl? There's any nuclear material left? Where are they at?
Chernobyl right now is mostly a wildlife reserve. There's still the nuclear power plant there, but it's mostly offline, and the containment dome is still in place.
So why would they want that location?
For the animals, duh. They're going to have a zoo.
Don't they have like 2-headed animals there, Chase, and studying the nuclear radiation effects on them?
Fun fact, the animals there are healthier than anywhere else in the world. They live longer because their DNA is more resilient because they're around, ambient radiation. Except for the ones that live inside there.
So what you're saying, Chase, is they're going to have the longest living zoo ever.
By a couple of years, maybe.
Hey.
Though the birds inside the containment dome are a little weird.
See, that's why would you not want Chernobyl then? They have longer living animals.
I do not see the significance of having Chernobyl. That doesn't make any sense to me at all, why they would even... I don't know that they took it. I think it was just on the way.
They want the whole country, sir.
Yes, I would think they'd want the whole country be without Chernobyl. That would be a good place to be, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
As we're getting into the Ukraine of all, I would like, and again, I'm going to limit him on time. Chase, can you give us just a little bit, so that our listeners, and I guess educate me as well, has Ukraine always been an independent country? Where's it been? It was once part of the Soviet Union, but where was it before then? How did all these things happen?
Okay, to make a long story short, the idea of Ukraine being an independent nation started in the 1800s when it was still owned by Lithuania. Eventually in 1917, just after World War I, the first state in what we call Ukraine today was established just outside Kiev, like surrounding that area. Then it was immediately absorbed in 1922 by the USSR, before finally being independent in 1991 after the dissolution of the Soviet Union.
See, that was very short, concise. I don't know what your problem is, Dale.
That they have been independent or recognized as their own nation since the early 90s. So I'm assuming the Soviet Union obtained Ukraine along with other countries after World War II?
Well, not long after World War I. It was in the interim of 1922. They did absorb many countries after World War II, like Poland and half of Germany, but it was in the interim between World Wars I and II, when the USSR was first formed, that they took things like Belarus and Ukraine.
Got it.
I want to bring something up here. So, Germany is on Team Ukraine now, right?
That is correct. They were pretty neutral.
That's a terrible move. They lose every world war. That's bad news for Ukraine. Just bringing that out.
that is possible. They were neutral for a little while.
Fair point.
Just want to bring that out. Just saying. I'd kick them off the team.
You know what's surprising to me is I believe India is staying somewhat neutral to leaning a little towards the east versus joining the forces of the West. That surprised me because I believe they've been in a border dispute with China for quite some time. So I'm a little confused there. Very confused.
So, like, Dale, you won in this podcast. Like, what is your point of it?
I think we can talk about several things, but the first one that I would like to go into, and as we speak right now, the capital Kiev, they can no longer evacuate. It's basically surrounded by Russian troops, where there are no more women and children being evacuated. So they're who's there is there to stay. What I find interesting, I'm hoping, I guess I don't know if I want there to be truth to this.
I think the mayor of Kiev, is that how you say it, Kiev?
Correct.
He's hot.
No, that is not relevant.
Just saying.
Not relevant. What is relevant is, did you hear some comments? I believe Rubio and a few other senators coming out today and discussing a little bit about they feel something's wrong or something's not right with Putin. Well, we all know that, but they think it's different than how he's been in the past. And they make these statements, yet they're not able to share the intel that it's coming from. So I don't know what exactly is there. And I have a thought here. There is a chance he's crazy. I'm going to go with Trump on this one, that he's a very cold, calculated person. I think he's obviously intelligent. He's made his way to the top there relatively quickly and held on to it. So he has some level of intelligence.
Some.
That doesn't mean he can't be insane crazy. And I do believe he's going that way. But Ryan, wouldn't it be of benefit for us to start this rumor that he has gone crazy and maybe open the door for somebody within the Russia political realm to oust him, if at all possible?
Let me back this train up just a second here, and then I want Chase's opinion on my statement, not yours. Every person who has ever wanted to lead a country of any size, any power, any form, any nation, has a little bit of crazy in them, or they would not seek such position. Chase, do you agree with that?
I'm not sure about that, but I have to say, when you're an autocrat, be it a dictator, a king, or whatever, when things are going wrong, everybody's looking to put a knife in your back, so it's understandable how he could be cracking under paranoia when he's been essentially sort of dictator, sort of president of Russia for almost the last 2 decades, with a little break in 08 and 12.
I used to like Chase, and he disagreed with me, so now I'm on the fence. I stand by what I said. Anybody who wants to be a world leader has got a little bit of crazy in them. And I will say the same thing for my beloved Trump. They got to be a little crazy to want that position, because there is nothing good that comes of it. Nothing.
And I agree. There's got to be a little crazy in there. But I think what we're talking about here is he's gone. It's much further than that. Not just that little crazy he had, say, 5 or 10 years ago. They talk about how he's been isolating himself from everyone in this maybe part of COVID. I don't know. But you would assume he's got yes men around him. He's isolated himself. There's no doubt in my mind that this has been a wake-up call for him to a certain degree, because I believe that he truly thought when he entered Ukraine, either they're going to surrender immediately and he can take over Ukraine, or there's actually the population there that was okay with Russia taking them over, which obviously the resolve in the Ukrainian population is overwhelming. The acts that they're putting forth to keep Russia out or try to defeat Russia or keep their homeland is amazing. And I think that was a serious miscalculation on Putin's part. I don't think he was aware that it was going to go down like this.
Dale, you're saying that he's more crazy now. I need to bring up another point. This man is 69 years old, and he rides shirtless on horses and has people take pictures of him and send that out to the people of the world. He was crazy before COVID. Rona did not make him crazy.
No, you're right. There are those pictures. So there's that. That's that little bit of crazy we're talking about. I'm talking about deep crazy, deep enough crazy. What did he mention today that should concern all of us?
Dale, I have been through 5 states in 72 hours. I do not know.
He talked about readying his nuclear force.
Oh,
he upped there, like when we go from orange to green or red or whatever color it is. He's on the high level right now, and I don't know, Ryan, but I'm gonna go out there and say he obviously cares about none of the people in Ukraine. I don't think he cares about his own people, and that's evident. He's extremely wealthy. He's used his dictatorship, his power, whatever you want to call it, for self-benefit, that he gets concerned about himself. If he's in a situation where he's going to lose power and or thinks he's going to be killed, and Chase had a good comment there that dictators and aristocrats, there's always that chance, and they usually end up being killed or stabbed by somebody or taken out. When he gets to that point, even if it's only paranoia, I think that crazy bastard would possibly use the nuclear option. And that is concerning to the deepest level.
There's lots of stuff that I don't understand about this, but like, first off, I want to say that whoever in Dale's mind wanted this podcast, there is nothing that I or Dale or Chase or anybody on any podcast in the world can say about the situation that is going to affect world order. Now, that's just is what it is. I think this is a terrible situation. I do think he is like gone a little farther off the deep end than normal. But I have said before on previous podcasts, he believes Ukraine is part of Russia. He has been steadfast on this. He has stated it several thousand times. He wants it. He's going to take it. He can take it. I don't know why he's pussyfooting around about it, but it is a terrible, horrible thing. The thing that I think is the worst about all this is, yes, what is happening in Ukraine is god-awful, and those people are going to suffer immense and terrible traumatic losses of life and of everything. But once he gets this, he's going to want more. And that is when NATO or our beloved, bewildered, sleepy, creepy Joe Biden president and these other people are going to have to step up and be like, okay, you had your fun. This is over now. Because all he needs to do is to continue this little path of destruction, and Dale's buddy in China get wind of it and get antsy, and then he takes Taiwan and God whatever, and then those team up, and then we really do have world war.
Here's where you're mistaken. And there's some good points there that you made, but there's no question that China and Xi and Putin have already teamed up, and that's just that is
not
what
official
it is.
yet.
No, it is it is happened. It is there. Even official, they came out
are
together.
Are they shooting missiles at the same people?
They are as teamed up get. It's basically China and Russia against the West.
Sound like
Period.
the libtards that went Russia, Trump and Putin. That's what you sound like right now.
They are teamed up. And we were wrong. When we talked about Putin going in and invading Ukraine, we thought that Xi would go into Taiwan, and as a distraction in Ukraine, they're getting away with it. He'll go ahead and grab Taiwan. I think, and here's a statement that part of the reason I wanted to bring this Beyond the Circus up, and we have people around the world, all of a sudden, the big old bright lights on Putin, on what an evil person he is. If you've paid any attention, you already knew that. But there's a large portion of the population in this country and other countries that can block out the news, and I don't blame them for that, but they don't get all the information because of social media and because of the individual stories coming out of the Ukraine. There is no question that 90% of the world population is aware of what's going on, and I believe they disapprove greatly. Even the citizens of Russia, the people in Russia disapprove, and they're protesting despite the fact they're going to be thrown in jail for life or their livelihoods turned upside down. So that's a big deal. When you protest here, no big deal. There, it's pretty serious. So I'm going to go a step further. The fact that I do believe China is going to encompass Taiwan at some point somehow. They're going to find a way to do that, and that's very unfortunate. I think the fact that the entire world outside of China, in a few other countries, is so against Putin, and they think this is an absolute atrocity, I believe that puts pressure on Xi to not take Taiwan at the moment and look like what Putin looks like. I think he'll divert that a little bit. Their economy is so dependent on the entire world, not just getting oil there. We don't need some of the trinket shit that China produces. We need some of their products, but we don't need the little crap. We could damage them more through economic pain than we can Russia.
You do realize why China wants Taiwan, right, sir?
I think they want the whole world.
You always talk about all these things being made in China. There's a lot more shit I see that says made in Taiwan than it does China, sir. That is why China wants Taiwan.
That's why there is a lot of stuff made, and I'm okay with stuff made in Taiwan, but soon I'm afraid it's going to fall into Chinese hands. But I do believe that he is going to have to stop and think hard about it, because he does not want the world perception on him like Putin has right now. You know who came out and confirmed this craziness or change in Putin that I actually respect a great deal is Condoleezza Rice. She said she's had several meetings with him and discussions with him, and she feels pretty confident that there's something different, which it could just be he's getting more cranky and older. I don't know. But I do put some faith in usually what she says.
I do not, ever.
Oh, I think she's good.
Mm-hmm. You would.
The fact that he's willing to
toss... She is kind of like your buddy Chris Wallace on Fox. She
Chris
says
is no longer on Fox. He jumped
whatever
ship.
he was. Yeah, he tries to be neutral, and she says she's a Republican and conservative. She also lies. But anyway, next.
Well, I like what she said about Putin today.
Well, good. See, you cherry pick things that you like about people, and then when they disappoint you, you like want to go shoot them in the kneecap.
Yes.
So the next time she does something like I have witnessed for years and years and years, I'm going to bring it up, and then you're going to want to shoot her in the kneecap.
This is a possibility. I cannot deny that.
There you go.
I cannot. So I don't know that while we're talking about that though, what about Putin's actions? I mean, just what he's doing, and it's so amazing to me because this is the first war that we've had, full out war with social media, with TikTok, with everything, and somehow it's all getting out to all these people across the world. So what's going on with the world order and alliances and perceptions because of what Putin is doing right now? To me, we're strengthening the U.S.-European relations. I think we're stronger now than we've ever been. I think it's bringing NATO together stronger than it's ever been, right or wrong. I think it's right at the moment. I don't like the fact that we pay for most of it, but it's also pushing Sweden and Finland into NATO. I think Putin came out and threatened them with serious consequences that they are not allowed to join NATO. How does he have control over what a country wants to become a part of another organization or not? I don't get it. There's no question Sweden and Finland are going to join NATO because if they do, then they're protected on that. If they don't, Putin's going to try to take them. It's that simple.
Again, like you say that we're stronger and all this other stuff, and everyone has come out and condemned Putin and Russia for invading Ukraine, okay? They've all done that. But other than talking, there's been very little action because the sanctions do not matter. They do not work. If they worked, they would have done them before and we wouldn't be in this predicament. Like, they got to do more than say, you are a bad, crazy man and you should not be doing this. That's not enough.
No, I agree. And there's some sanctions that got him put in place here recently that we can talk about. And I'm completely with you. And if the sanctions were enough, they would have had to have been done a long time ago. And I do have a two-step solution on how this ends, or the only way for it to end.
And this is why he wanted the podcast, because Putin is listening right now, and Dale is going to give him the solution.
Putin does not need to be listening. Biden needs to be listening. And he's...
yes.
We have a better chance of Putin listening than Biden, I think. Pretty sure of that.
Well, go ahead, sir.
So back to the perception around the world. Did you see the video? I think Chase saw it, of the Russian tank rolling over that civilian vehicle, intentionally going out of their way to run over a civilian vehicle.
Okay, but did they verify that was a Russian tank? Because at one time they thought it was a Ukrainian tank.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know. I didn't see what
that was on Fox News, sir. That they did not, when they showed that video, that's about the last bit of news I watched. They had not confirmed if it was a Russian or a Ukrainian tank.
They've continued to show it, and they didn't say anything about a Ukrainian. Chase, what do they have? What do the Ukrainian or Russians have in their tanks to identify them?
It appears a large number of their vehicles have a Z in white spray paint painted on them. It's unclear why. Some think friendly fire, some think it's meant to be like a zoning direction, but it just appears on a lot of their military vehicles.
I did not see that on that one, Ryan. So, I mean, maybe they've played it many times here this afternoon without any comment of it, so I'm going to assume Russian, but I can't imagine why a Ukrainian tank would do it, but I don't know.
I'm not trying to say fact or fiction, but that was literally probably the last little bit of news footage I saw, and it was on Fox and Friends Saturday morning.
Got it.
And they stopped because they said that they could not verify whose tank it was that ran over the car.
I think that's probably when it first came out, and that makes sense. With the social media, Ryan, with the internet still being up, cell phone towers still being up, all those things, the world is getting to see this on a personal level. Actions like that, actions like the women and children fleeing for Poland, just everything is being videoed, is being recorded, all of those things. And I don't think there's any way that Putin thought through that and realized how personal this can now get to people around the world because of social media. Why on earth would he not figured out how to take out the internet, take out the cell phone towers? That's a historical blunder, in my opinion.
Because, the hot mayor of Kiev said that they still had heat, internet, electricity, water, but they don't have any way to, since the city of Kiev is, surrounded or encircled is the word he put it, like they can't get food or medication to any of the wounded or anything. But so, yeah, he is very effective with his cyber attacks on the U.S. all the time. So I don't know why he can't do this to Ukraine.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense, does it?
No.
Why would he want an avenue for people to see what atrocities he's created?
I think he gets off on it.
I mean, if he did, maybe that's the only explanation.
See,
because
you think all these people protesting and all this stuff like that? It does make him look bad or whatever, but I don't think he cares. I think like he's that kind of person that he's like, yeah, see what I'm doing?
That can't be possible. He knows it's got to be detrimental for his retaining power long term.
I don't think he doesn't think that. No.
Did you hear that they reached out to Elon Musk and he's actually got his Starlink internet for Ukraine now?
Yes, he did something good for Elon.
Pointed the satellite that direction. I don't know how they can get hooked up to it, but if it's true and they really can garner internet because of that action, that's good. That's great. I'm in. I'm going to go buy me an electric car.
Oh, Lord help us.
And I'm not one of those green huggers by any means, but I do appreciate that one.
Oh my God.
So we've talked about
your liberal tendencies are coming through now more than ever.
We've talked about the miscalculation just briefly. Guess what the other biggest miscalculation is, Ryan? What do you think? Besides the fact he didn't take out the internet and the cell towers, what else did he not expect?
He obviously thought that these people would crumble a lot faster. And this is the other point that I want to bring out. And I know nobody listening to this cares because they're not a snowflake or a libtard. But the only reason Ukraine is still standing is because Trump sold them javelins and advanced weaponry that they're using against Russia right now. And that's the only reason they're still going. Obama and his blankets ain't doing shit for Ukraine right now. So all you Trump, Russia, Putin, all that bullshit, take that.
You're saying that Trump wasn't the best buddies with Putin is what you're getting across. He wasn't
I'm
afraid
saying he sold Ukraine the weapons that are keeping them in the fight right now, and that is facts, sir.
Yeah, and I think it's too late, but there's lots of weapons coming in from other countries now. I just don't know how they think they're going to get them to them so they can use them at this point. We're just a little late on that one.
I agree. They're late on that, but that's why like these other countries are going to have to like go in and stop it. Like
it's not going to happen. They won't go in.
And okay, I agree with you. I have been saying that. So what is the purpose of this podcast, sir?
To bring to light exactly what's going on. I think that if everybody in the world speaks up and the populace of our planet speaks against this, all of a sudden it does become Russia/China against the rest of the world. And under those circumstances, you would think that maybe it's going to keep them in check or hold them in check just a little bit longer. Maybe not. I think the miscalculation on his part is I think he knew that what weapons Ukraine had. I don't think he thought the army, similar to the Afghan army, he thought they would crumble like you'd mentioned. I don't think he had any idea that citizens were going to take up arms. Just the fact that they're willing to do it, not that they can hold back a Russian army or the Russian military, but the fact that those citizens are willing to take up arms, willing to risk their lives. What about those 13 soldiers on Snake Island? I believe a Russian warship approached. They said, hey, surrender or we're going to take you out. They basically told the warship to do what, Ryan?
A very, very bad word. And since Chase is on here, I could not use it. But I use it a lot normally.
Chase rides a school bus. It's okay.
No, I
used to ride the school bus.
I'm not. Chase, why would you ever ride a school bus? I'm going to call Child Protective Services.
Oh, Ryan, it is perfectly normal for young children to ride a bus. It's part of the real world.
Idea. That's a terrible idea. Terrible.
Chase, help me out here. So Chase went to private school until what grade, Chase?
3rd grade.
Okay, 3rd grade. Up until 3rd grade, would you consider yourself fairly isolated?
I thought the S word was stupid.
Okay.
You would have never made it at my house, dude.
Okay, so at 3rd grade, at the conclusion of 3rd grade or the beginning of 3rd grade, whatever it was, we decided to put Chase in a public school, partially because the private school no longer existed, and we thought he needed exposure to the real world, unlike some of the other people on this podcast that maybe never was exposed to that. So, Chase, what happened in your first day or two on the bus?
I learned a lot of new words. My vocabulary really expanded.
It was very, very eye-opening for our family anyway, but it was good. I don't know how we got on that one other than, that those that were holding the island, Snake Island, there's nothing there for Russia to take. There's no reason for the Ukrainian soldiers to try to hold it, but they basically told the Russians to piss off. As soon as they did that, Russians took them out. They lost their lives. But we're hearing instances of this all the time. I believe there's two guards over a bridge that decided to take their life and blow the bridge up so the Russian could not use that bridge. But the brave people of Ukraine, it's amazing to me, almost to a point where it seems crazy that some of these people are standing up for what they believe, and that's great, but knowingly going to take their life where maybe they could find another path or they could live to fight another day, but they're not that way. They're very tough, very strong, very brave people, and there is no way, with all of that being said, and the fact they're willing to take up arms, Putin did not think that they would do that, because at this point, no matter what Putin does, he could level those cities. He can do what he wants. He's got the power. We're not going in to stop him. He can take Ukraine. He can do that militarily. He cannot occupy Ukraine because all of those citizens are so dead set and resolved that they're going to maintain their country and get the Russians out. The population is going to continually be an issue for him. The Putin cannot control them. Can he run a tank down the main street? Can he do all these things? Yeah, but he's always going to have to be watching his back because those citizens are going to try to take him out every chance they get. And with that number of citizens in Ukraine willing to do that, it cannot be occupied. I don't believe. It can be destroyed, but it cannot be occupied.
I think that's the decision he's got to make there. But like the other thing is, and again, like as you said, I'm not sure everybody keeps up with all the foreign nonsense that goes on, but like everybody's making out the Ukrainian president to be this hero and all this. He's a dirty, corrupt, terrible human being. I just need to point that out.
Yes, you have not been hearing
much of that.
He is really
a terrible, corrupt, horrible. He literally was in cahoots with Hunter Biden. Okay, let's not forget about all this. But anyway, and so yeah, him staying there and fighting for his country and his people, all of that is very noble.
It's actually shocking to me knowing how corrupt he was, or at least the allegation of. I don't know for a fact that he was, but it damn sure looks that way, doesn't it?
The allegations with Hunter, but there is no doubt the man is corrupt. Okay, there's lots there.
And we're not hearing anything about that now.
Oh no, now he's just a hero and all this other stuff. But like my point is on this, I do think what he's doing for his country is very noble and all that. But if Putin is as crazy as all you people claim, and you and Condoleezza and everybody else, and he's gone off the deep end for real now, I'm just going to make this prediction that no matter what happens in Ukraine, whether he levels it, he occupies it, he takes it, he goes home, whatever, if Putin is breathing, his goal is to kill that man for the embarrassment that he has caused Putin.
Absolutely. And Putin does not like being embarrassed. I have this feeling. I don't know him personally, but I have a feeling he does not like that very well at all.
That dude better be sleeping with like both eyes open for the rest of his life, is all I got to say.
No, I'm with you. Speaking of that, we're going to circle back just a moment. We talked about China and Russia.
Oh, please don't bring that bitch up.
No, we're going to have to talk about her just briefly. Not right now.
I can't.
Oh, it's terrible, 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 terrible. So this new alliance between China and Russia, just so everybody's aware, obviously they've not been best of buddies in the past, but because they have the United States as a common enemy, and I'm going to use the word enemy right now, where there's no hiding it. China's trying to buy us out, take us over economically, do whatever they can in their 50-year plus plan to do so, and they are on track to do it. Russia would like us gone. It's clearly China, Russia, shockingly India staying neutral to maybe leaning their way, which I'm totally confused on that one. I hope I'm wrong, against the rest of the world, literally. And with that said, those two forces, China and Russia, team together. They have a strong conventional army. They have an incredible nuclear base or stockpiles. Chase, I think you looked up the other day, Russia doesn't have that many nukes compared to China. Is that which one has more? China has significantly more. Is that correct?
Inverse, sir. China has, last time I checked, 350, if my source was correct. Russia has something like 5,600.
Oh, my.
America's got something like 4,000.
Wait, Russia's got more nukes than we do?
Well, yeah, but
that's a terrible idea.
Okay, let's be honest. Once you have more than 100, it's kind of overkill. What else
is
are you
probably
gonna do?
You're right, Chase. You're right. Very good point on that, but still, I think I don't know. I would like to be in the lead of that at least. I don't know. I mean,
I would too, and I'm afraid that theirs are probably a little more advanced than ours. I had a individual, Ryan, remember that show I judged in Wyoming that you're doing this year, that there's all kinds of grizzly bears in
I
the
don't
area?
know what you're talking about, sir.
We talked about it was in Montana. I apologize. I think it was Montana, where I told you you're going to this town, you're going to stay in a little hotel.
No.
And they have a guard out at the show at night because they're worried about bears coming in, not people screwing with the animals. But anyway,
you are really not doing this show any favors of me showing up right now with these stories. I'm just saying.
I know. We went for a drive out away from town, and we went into the mountains, and it was a beautiful, beautiful drive. And that drive, I know we talked about this, the missile silos were just common alongside the road.
Mm-hmm.
And she had shot me a Facebook message saying that they saw some Humvees heading out towards the missile silos, and they went out that way, and there was no real activity going on. But it's interesting to me that I don't know how prepared we are for something like that, Ryan. I'm going to assume that we're ready. I hope our defense against a nuclear attack is in place, but I don't have any idea.
That's way above my pay grade. I'm just saying.
I was shocked that we could drive within 50 yards of a nuclear silo. Does that shock you? And there's nobody there. Well, at least nobody above ground.
There's
a fence around this little area that's basically a nuclear silo, and that registered very odd with me. Very, very odd.
Yeah, I would find that the most concerning, just to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. So I don't know. I am concerned about China and Russia bonding together over a common end goal, and that is to take out the West. And I don't think they can do it. I'm hoping they can't do it. My fear is they're just crazy enough that if the nuclear option happens, everybody loses. And it's just that simple. It's crazy that Putin would even throw that out there as a threat. But he's pretty good at doing those things, and I don't know if you want to take it as a hollow threat or not, but I'm leaning towards the fact that he is crazy and it's not a threat. This is a conversation we had earlier today. So, Chase, what if Putin has something in play that if he were to be assassinated, that we hit the nuclear button? Or if his back's against the wall and he's going to lose power, he hits a nuclear button. Chase, what stops that? How can it not happen?
The way I see it is that, yes, Putin might have nothing to lose. Once he dies, or once he's got his back against the wall and he's cornered because he's going to be overthrown, then, yeah, he's got nothing to lose. But once he's gone, like, if it's an assassination that gets to him first, there's no way there's going to be somebody he told, hey, if I die, hit this button. There's no way that person will hit that button because that person has something to lose. There's always, as long as he's still alive, he has a chance to hit the button if he's got his back against the wall. But if it's an assassination that just takes him out like that, then I can't imagine there'd be anybody in their right mind who would hit that button and launch the nukes.
I'm with Chase on that. Like, I think it's got to be him. I think Chase is dead on there. But, like, the whole thing is, I don't know where you come up with this assassination plan. No one is going to assassinate the man.
Oh, I'm hopeful.
This is like you shooting random people in the kneecap, Dale. What, did you go talk to, like, the Secretary of War and be like, yo, this is what you need to do?
I think there's a chance of somebody within this country. I think if Trump was in charge right now, I think we would have somebody there.
Yeah, but he's not.
There's got to be another country, somebody out there that has the capability of getting close to this man and taking him out. There has to be.
I think you're living in a tree.
Chase, what happens to somebody with this amount of power at some point in history?
Every autocrat either is paranoid that they're going to get killed or is killed. It is very rare that a autocrat, be them a king or a dictator, is going to die of natural causes. And if they do, they're going to be paranoid as all get out on their deathbed.
This goes back to what I told y'all at the beginning, that you got to be pretty crazy to want to be one of these people to start with.
It does go back there.
Just saying.
So while we're on the nuclear option, another thing, and I'm going to bring Chase in on
Lord,
this one.
your rainbows and butterflies goat man is not going to like this episode at all.
No, he's gonna tune it right out. Chase, we've had, from the beginning of time, humans have developed weapons of starting whatever, of a stick or a stone or whatever it may be, all the way up to nuclear weapons. Has there ever been a time in humanity or the history of the human race where we've developed a weapon that we didn't use?
Not that I can think of, but here's the question. We've already used them. Do you think we're going to use them again?
Say, we've nuked people before.
Yeah, true. I think we're going to use them again. I think it's inevitable because we can. at some point, I don't know if that's tomorrow or 200 years from now or whenever, but I find it very hard to believe that at some point there's not a crazy bastard that has the ability to launch one of them, and it will happen. I don't know when, but with that said, it frightens me because I just think if we have access to it, it's almost inevitable that it's going to be used again.
I'm not saying that you're not right, sir, but like I want to bring something up. And again, I'm preaching to the choir here because I'm pretty sure most people listening to this voted the correct way for president. But everybody said that Trump was going to cause World War III. We went through 4 years and nobody even thought about getting into a war. And I will say this out loud and for the record. I think part of that was because these other people in the positions of power along the world thought he might just be crazy enough to do something that they couldn't handle. And that's why they kept their asses in check. Now we got Mr. Dementia America, and they're like, he didn't even know what day of the week it's on. It'll be fine.
I think that's exactly right. I mean, maybe we're not right, but what else? What other reason could you toss out there? That's logical, Ryan.
I mean, literally every other president that I know of in modern time, maybe throughout the world, had some type of war going on. Trump had none. Zero.
And I pose a question to our listeners. Do you feel safer with Joe Biden in charge now?
Oh, Jesus Christ. You don't even need to ask that.
Feel safer 2 years ago with Trump in charge? I think
Lord,
almost all the Democrats or the people leaning liberal would have told you that they would feel, while Trump was in charge, safer with Joe at the wheel. But I guarantee you, if they were honest with themselves right now, hooked up to a lie detector test, those sons of bitches know they'd have been safer with Trump in charge.
Well, and that's the one thing. And maybe there are a few possible independents listening to this. And so if there are, they're not all conservatives and Republicans or whatever. If you independents are listening, y'all decide the elections in this country. I don't know how y'all don't know this. Maybe you do, but you do. So if you are out there and you are an independent, I am going to beg you, when we go to elect the next president, I don't know if Trump's running. I don't know. But I am going to. I know he is not announced. But anyway,
okay.
I am going to beg you to vote with your brain and not with your heart. Okay? Because the heart got us in where the fuck we are right now. All right? All you people in the mean tweets and he's a bad person and whatever, all this other bullshit. That has led us to where we are today, people. And I am not feeling good about it. So vote with your brain, not your heart next time.
They're going to, Ryan. I think they've had enough.
Yeah.
They're going to vote correctly.
Since you brought up that Jen Psaki Nazi whatever. Oh, Lord. Anyway, do you know what she said just like moments ago?
I don't.
Biden has come out and said, or she did for him, that because oil prices are going through the roof, even with, this escalating over there, that what the U.S. needs to do is decrease its reliance on foreign oil by switching to other renewable energy sources, but not increasing domestic production. So they will not. That is not what the administration is going to do. They will not be increasing.
I can't believe he's not doing it. I cannot believe it. That takes me to that two-step process, and that's number one. There is a way to stop this. There's a way that we could have prevented this. And Ryan, it's simple, and you see it clearly. If Trump was still in office, we'd be in a fuel surplus. We would be not only energy independent,
we were energy
but we'd be exporting energy. We could export energy to Europe, where they're now reliant on Russia oil. We could have solved that problem. And if we were just energy independent and maybe a little bit more, all of a sudden, all those dollars that are going into Putin's hands from his oil reserves are much, much less, if not non-existent. We would have the capability.
That's the whole point. The reason Putin made this aggression is oil's so high and he's making so much money off it. He can afford to go to war and all this other stuff. He couldn't when Trump was in office.
No, and day one when Biden...
Like, how do people not see that?
I don't know.
That is just as clear as day.
This whole Ukraine war would not happen if we were energy independent. Period.
The last two times Putin has taken any type of invasion, aggression, all this other stuff, oil was $100 a barrel. Look where we are.
Yeah, I believe it comes down to $75 a barrel. He's just a little above break even. It's not going to affect it. When it gets up to 100, he's making a lot of money. He can fund all these things. Day one in office, Biden shuts down the Keystone Pipeline. He reduces energy production where we can't no longer explore or extract energy out of any of the federal lands. He reverses everything that Trump opened up, basically. And when he does that, this is exactly why oil prices are the way they are. It's why we're shipping in 500 to 600,000 barrels of oil from Russia. We're paying Russia tomorrow. We will buy 500,000 plus barrels of oil from Russia. Even though they're invading Ukraine, we're sending them money to help them do that because we're no longer energy independent. It would be so simple. So he's releasing some from our oil reserves. It gets us through like half a day or something stupid. Nothing, basically. But if we would have kept our energy independence, we'd be in a position right now, along with our European allies, that they are not funding Russia, including us. I cannot believe that we're still taking oil from Russia and that dumb son of a bitch won't open up everything he can here to get us back to energy independence. With that said, Circle Back comes out, and this was maybe yesterday, and talks about the Green New Deal. And I'm going to jump around here a lot. John Kerry, did you hear what he said, Ryan?
World War III is upon us, and she's worried about the Green New Deal.
And John Kerry says, well, I'm worried that the war in Korea is going to take focus off the green energy. I'm concerned that we're going to lose our focus here. And he was dead serious, Ryan.
John Kerry.
Serious.
John Kerry, who owns like multiple jets that burn 900 million, pollute all this other stuff. Yeah. Okay. Because
Mr. Corporate Heinz Ketchup.
My head is going to explode. I do.
He was genuinely concerned that the war in Ukraine was going to take the focus off of the Green New Deal, and we're going to get more.
Heaven forbid that happen.
Okay, let's go back to common sense. I'm all for it. If we can become more green over time and it's renewable, great, all great if it's truly possible. And we find an effective way to do that. We can't do that no matter how hard we try immediately. That's not going to happen. So we shut down what we call clean extraction of energy out of the U.S., and we purchase the dirtiest harvested oil from Russia you could possibly get. How is that helping our planet? When in one manner we're doing it as clean as possible. On the other hand, Russia's just pulling it out of the ground however they can, and they probably could give a shit less on what they're polluting. What logic is there, Ryan? We're going to continue to use oil from somebody. Why not use it from the cleaner source?
The logic is a bunch of bleeding heart liberals and a bunch of independents that thought the president was too mean decided to elect a fucking moron, and this is what we are today.
And those people that voted for Biden, this war's on your shoulders.
Oh, absolutely. And like, y'all cannot make me believe, do not. Any of you people come on my Facebook, all these people have been coming on my Facebook with shit, and I delete you. Let me bring something up. This is my social media, okay? It's not Beyond the Rings. It's not Beyond the Junior Lifestyle. My personal social media. If I don't like your comment, I can delete it. It is America. I can do what I want with my own shit. So don't come back up there and ask Dale to get on into all this other stuff about Condoleezza Rice and all her nonsense, which we've already addressed. Don't be doing that to me, people. Look, I have about had it, okay? And like, I do not need you people coming on my social media trying to tell me what to do. There is a thing that says scroll on by. If you don't like it, just scroll on by. I do it every day, thousands of times. I don't start wars and idiot things on other people's social media. If I don't believe what they say, like what they say, I just scroll on by. It is so liberating. Do that. Don't be coming on there because you will get deleted. You will get blocked. Then you're going to get your panties in an uproar and all this other stuff. And I don't care. I do not care. I will not have it. I'm just telling you right now. But I am going to say this. All of you people that, just Trump's just too mean, and did it and went on and voted for the nice guy. Nice guys get you hurt, and nice guys finish last. And there is no doubt in my mind that Putin and Xi Jinping, whatever his name is over there in China, they know we have a weak leader, and that is why they are doing the shit they are doing right now.
Even if he's not a weak leader, his policies taking us out of energy independence have allowed for this to happen. Let's say Biden took office.
You can't make people believe that. I've tried.
I'm telling you.
It literally makes my head hurt.
Even if we had Biden in office, and even though he is weak, there is much less chance that this war would be taking place in Ukraine if we had lower oil prices because we were energy independent. Putin would have the financial backing to do what he's doing. I'm convinced, and again, I would rather have Trump in office, and that would deter it as much as anything, because his policies allow for energy independence. And that's what it allows Putin to do what he's doing. It's that simple. This is step one in this whole procedure. If we become energy independent, which Circle Back says we're not going to, we could eventually strangle Putin out again.
Yeah.
Just like Reagan did during the Cold War. We could do it again. We've put sanctions on him, but the toughest sanction is to shut off that oil coming into the U.S., take away those European countries that are buying oil from Russia, let them buy it from the U.S. We have the largest stock.
We could be making money.
Yes, and this war would not happen.
We could be literally causing that man to not be able to have the money to have a war. And the U.S. could be making money. And God knows we didn't need it because we got a bunch of debt. Like, I don't even want to get into that. And you know what? No, let's not do that.
No, let's not bring clean energy in as clean as we can, and let's let dirty oil come into it. It makes no sense.
See, you're making my head explode. But anyway, a lot of people bitched about Trump and America First, that he was a nationalist and all this other stuff and whatever, all this yada, yada, yada. Okay. So again, y'all looked at, and Biden's thing was that when I'm in charge, if I become president, then I am going to be respected by the world leaders and everything's going to be lovely and rainbows and butterflies and leprechauns are going to skip into pots of gold and whatever else. Okay? The opposite has happened. Even the world leaders know that he's not right in the head. And because he doesn't put America first, now we are in the terrible, terrible economic inflation. You can sit here and I could list 5 million things. So he's not America first. He's got the world is literally on fire. So all you people that voted for this motherfucker, sorry, Chase, what do you have to say for yourselves now?
You should be feeling exactly what your vote did. I want you to feel it.
I would like to know what y'all think now. Because he ain't come through on one damn promise. Not one. Not one.
Okay, speaking of that, before I get to my part two, we've got the State of the Union.
There's a part two?
Yeah, just part two on what we can do to stop this. Okay.
I was like,
State of the Union is Tuesday, correct?
Yeah, and it's like a month late.
So what in the hell is he going to talk that he's done positive? What could he possibly come up with?
Dude.
I don't know. I'm sure he'll have an hour plus list of accomplishments, and there's nothing. Do you think he's that isolated and delusional that he really thinks he's accomplished things, or he's just going to get up there and lie?
Dude, I don't know. I hope I get to watch it, is all I get to say.
Chase, do you have anything positive that Biden's accomplished?
He wants to be green, doesn't want to go nuclear. He wants to have world peace, can't put his foot down with Russia. He wants to do a lot of things, and I think he wants to do the right thing. He just fails miserably at it.
Chase, I don't think the man really knows what the right thing is. Like, I'm not saying I think deep down that pretty much he's a good human being and all this other stuff. I don't think he's in the mental capacity right now to know what the right thing is. But I do agree that his intentions on running for president were probably true and honest more than most people that run for president. But yeah, no.
I don't know about that. I disagree. I think he's as corrupt as any of them.
I'm going to side with Ryan because, I think he's just so crazy that he thinks he's doing the right thing. He's nuts and he's lost his mind senile, but I think he's at least trying.
You think he believes in what he's doing?
I think so. Maybe he's having a come to God moment right about now, but if he's still clear enough to realize it.
See, Dale, I don't think he is clear enough mentally to realize it, but I agree with Chase. I think that he thinks he's doing the right thing because if he was as corrupt and all this other stuff as most of them, he would have ran right after Obama. At least ran against Hillary.
I don't know.
Not saying he would have beat Hillary for but that was his big chance.
I think there's been more dollars from China, Russia, Ukraine funnel into his family than any presidential family in history.
So but who even knows if he knows?
Maybe. I get it. let's go on. And then this, you were getting irate here a little bit ago. Well, guess what?
My blood pressure is
so we know how we can end Russia, and it's not, you can't do it overnight, but we can end it by becoming energy independent. And we were told today, Ryan, that that's not happening.
Yes,
that's just great.
I read you
that
the
is
quote.
The only possible way to put Russia into check, short of nuclear war. Period. That is it. That is the only thing you can do to put them in check beyond the nuclear option. And we just said today we're not going to increase our energy independence.
No.
Amazing to me.
No.
I thought somebody would get to him and he would come around. I thought that would happen.
No.
Okay, I've been streaming about China and what
Oz sucks. Whoever Oz is, like, we need to go find that person and literally take that person out behind the barn and beat the holy living you-know-what out of him.
I thought Oz would step in and say it's time to open up the energy.
I don't think so. No, not according to...
No, he's not. It's not.
Not according to Jen.
No, Jen says no. Says no. So what have I said about China? How can we get China back in check? You know this, Ryan. You know it. This is part 2.
But you just love to talk about it so much, so I'm going to let you.
So part 1 is the one way we get put Putin in check is energy independence for the United States, become an energy exporter. Putin no longer has any financial, he's done. It's over. He's quiet. He's hiding, whatever. China, on the other hand, is a far bigger danger than Russia. Far, far bigger, 10-fold, 20-fold worse than Russia. And that's hard to believe in the moment, but I promise you they are. And I've been talking about this for over a year. One thing we can do.
He's been talking about it for longer than that, people.
Yes, more than a year. All we have to do and to shut China back down is if the United States alone would not buy Chinese products, that in itself would financially cripple China. I'm not saying it's going to be convenient. I'm not saying that we wouldn't have to kick up manufacturing, and I think small businesses could eventually absorb all these things. I say we take the pain, whether it be a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, by no longer buying those Chinese products. Just done, over, strangle them economically because they're damn sure trying to buy us out from within. Do not make that personal choice. Do not purchase a Chinese product. You can go on Amazon and order something quick. I don't care. Don't wait until you get it to look and see what that label is. I've been guilty of it. I am going to do better. I encourage all of our listeners to do better. And just think, if the population in the United States, it wouldn't even have to be the government, stopped buying Chinese as best they could, it would have a huge impact. And if we would step up a little more on the political side and the government would step in and say, okay, no more Chinese imports. It's not going to happen. But that do you see any other way to shut China down right now? I don't.
I'm not saying you're not correct, Dale. I'm also saying that I just don't.
It has to be done.
I don't think it's going to.
If it doesn't, we will not be a solvent nation at some point.
I'm going to throw this back at you, big boy, and I'll tell you flat out, I'm not. You giving up your iPhone?
Yes, if I need to, I will give up my iPhone.
I'm not.
I wouldn't even hesitate.
Not either one of them. I'm keeping both mine.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt it. So there's my 2-step. Energy independence shuts down Russia. Stop buying Chinese products shuts down China. World problem solved. Doesn't that seem simple?
And I'm going to be honest. I think electronics are probably the only thing that I have that's like a big Chinese thing, and I don't have many. I have 2 phones and a laptop, but that's about it. But anyway, so I'm not that bad.
Maybe the U.S.-owned companies need to come back to the U.S. or go to Taiwan. Go anywhere but China.
Don't go to Taiwan because Taiwan ain't going to be Taiwan much longer. I'm just telling you.
Let's hope they hold out. Let's hope that she's going to hold off. Hold on.
Oh, now you're feeling the unicorns and the rainbows and the butterflies. But anyway.
I don't know how all this is even possible, Ryan. It's almost like people look at this, what they're seeing on social media and the news, and they think it's some Netflix series. That's what it's more likely to be like.
And I'm not saying you're not right. And again, I don't want to offend anybody when I say this, but if that's really how the majority of the world feels this is, then they really do not have enough grasp of history and world order and things like that. You could see this coming, literally see exactly what's happening and what probably will happen with China and Taiwan. We've been talking about it for months on here. This is not like, I get that, like, a lot of people do not want to, like, focus on the negative that happens in the world, especially when it's not just in our country, when it involves other countries. But also, the one thing that people need to remember is that, like, U.S. is seen as the major superpower in the world, and supposedly the president of the United States is supposed to be the leader of the free world. Now, I don't know if after Biden's little stint, if that's still going to be the case, but what happens in our country immensely and immediately affects every other country in the world.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, it's getting serious right now. When we make a call, I believe we sent out, the State Department sent out to get all U.S. citizens out of Russia.
Yeah, that was today.
You've got 6,000 protesters arrested in Russia today. And Ryan, I think when you protest in Russia and you get arrested, you're going to do some serious time, or it's not good. I mean, they know what's going to happen when they go out there, and they're still willing to go out there. This has gotten to the point where it's pretty serious. I hear Switzerland and Sweden are even tuning in on this, and that just doesn't ever happen. It's crazy. And when we think about there's 350,000 women and children that are now refugees in the border of Ukraine, mostly, I believe, going into Poland. And this is a true refugee crisis. When you have 350,000, it talks about how that's going to disrupt the whole European order trying to take care of these refugees. And I understand that. So what we have there is true refugee crisis. We can go to our southern border, and here we have a political simulation of a refugee crisis. And there's a total difference there, and it's amazing to me. While all this is going on, we understand what a true crisis is. And those that are coming to our U.S. border, they're not coming there because their family and their home is about to be blown up. I don't doubt in Mexico and Central America, it's bad. I understand that. It's not good whatsoever. But it's nothing like the situation those Ukrainians are going through right now, trying to get out of the country. And that's what we're making it out to be, and allowing them to claim political asylum here in the United States. We have got to plug that hole. And if we don't, there's so many issues that come along with this that we haven't even felt yet, that even if we get the midterms turned around, we get a new president or a conservative president in 24, we're still going to feel all the effects of the southern border being wide open. And it's a sad situation. And I'm not against those people that are trying to come across. Guess what, Ryan? If I'm down there and that border's wide open, guess what I'm doing?
I'm sure you're swimming it, but
I'm swimming it, wading it, swimming it. Well, I don't blame those. I blame our government for not putting that wall up and not enforcing that border. And then those people wouldn't make that horrific trip, and they wouldn't have to go through the cartel and give them all the money they have, and the atrocities that are taking place as they're trying to get to that border. It's unbelievable. So I'm not blaming those people that are trying to get across the border. If that border is open and I'm in another country, I'm going to do everything I can to get there as well. But we can't let this continue to happen, because not only good people are coming across, but also the bad. And that's very unfortunate. So I don't know. There is a sanction they put on, Ryan, that we talk about these sanctions. In the first ones he came out with, I'm not saying they don't do anything, but they don't do anything now. What Biden said, well, we'll see how their impact is in a month or so. That does a lot for that person in Ukraine right now, doesn't it? He made that statement. So have you heard of the term SWIFT?
Yes.
Okay, it's a society
They're freezing Russian banks in SWIFT.
Yeah,
yes.
Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. It's a company, or it's a bank out of Belgium, basically. They regulate all the financial transactions, or they coordinate the financial transactions of all the world banks. And they're now booted out of SWIFT, so they can't. If you want to pay for 600,000 barrels of oil, you would probably go through this banking system to pay Russia. Boom, they're out. They can't get paid for that. The downside of this is, I hear that China is coming up with a cryptocurrency that can be used for the world trade. Now, if because of this, it actually gives credit to this Chinese cryptocurrency, that's a bad thing. Let's hope to God nobody would ever use that, because that would put China, that'd give them a big step up in the world. So let's hope that doesn't happen. It's brilliant on their part to create it. I can understand why they do it. We don't need to fall into it. We do not. What's going to happen here in the U.S.? Continue to have higher fuel prices, which is going to drive the cost of all products up, continue the inflation. When SWIFT came into play, the Russian stock market fell by 30 to 50% in one day, Ryan. They're predicting tomorrow, when the markets open, the Russian ruble may devalue to nothing. And that's gonna hit Russia pretty hard. So I'm not saying that sanctions are enough, but this situation's big.
I'm just telling you, I've survived oil being negative a barrel. He'll survive.
Did they take money back out of your trust when it was negative?
Let's not talk about it. It was a very bad time for me.
So with that said, and while you bring that up, so we have a trust fund that you, for the most part, are financially okay.
Why do we have to get into this?
You're financially okay the rest of your life, in theory, correct?
That's what I've been told.
Yep, you don't have to worry about it. For the most part, when you were younger, did you have to worry much about where you're going to buy groceries or pay the rent?
I was worried about where I was buying my next steer, sir.
Yes. So what I'm getting at is you are in this bubble. You're not in a real world. You're in a bubble.
This is about Russia, not me.
Okay. I'm just bringing out the fact that oil high, oil low, it affects people. And oil high,
realize it affects people.
You especially. Do you wish for higher gas prices?
I have stated this before. I will state this again. John Ben Caraba told me a long time ago that we were never to gripe about the price of gas if it was high. We did not do that. I do think that while it is exorbitantly high right now, I don't think it needs to be where it's negative. There needs to be a happy medium where gas is affordable and yet oil producers make money, etc. There is a happy medium, but I am never bitched about paying for gas. I'm going to say that out loud, and all you people can hate me. I don't care.
At least that's honest. I
That's
appreciate
right.
that part of it. If we were energy independent, your little trust would not be maybe as strong. But you do wish for energy independence, correct?
It's not like I was homeless when we were energy independent, Dale.
That's good. I would hate for that to happen to you. I would not.
You were there, sir.
I would not want you to have to worry about where you're going to get your next meal. I would never want that to come to play, ever. I think you'd be a good Walmart greeter if it came to it, down to it.
Oh my!
You'd be the happiest Walmart greeter.
Can we please just end this now?
I think that's. I mean, I'm in pretty good shape. Chase, do you have anything you have an absolute burning desire?
Please, Chase, send us out with a tirade, by Lord, please.
Alrighty then. I got a couple things I was wondering if you guys are going to bring up. What do you guys think of this? Okay, Ukraine claims that they have their first ace pilot, the first ace pilot in the world of the 21st century. People are calling him the Ghost of Kiev because he is supposedly impossible to find, impossible to hit. A lot of folks online are just calling him a folktale that the people need to get through the night, but what do you guys think of it?
You think he's real? He's taken down fighters and so forth?
No idea. It's possible, but I think it's unlikely. Maybe it's just internet cynic in me, but
Ukraine needs a Batman right now. Let the little ghost pilot be the Batman. They need to believe in something, okay? I'm fine with it.
I'm fine. I'm good with it.
Another thing, do you think an assassination attempt on Putin is a legitimate possibility?
I do not.
I do.
Because let's look at another communist dictator, not as he didn't pretend to be president, he's just an outright dictator. Fidel Castro had over 638 assassination attempts on him, not one of which worked.
But the attempts were made. So you're saying, do you think we'll have a successful attempt on him or an attempt? I think there'll be an attempt on Putin. Probably already has been.
I'm sure there's been 200 of them already, but that doesn't mean man probably needs to put a bulletproof vest on when he goes shirtless horseback riding in the near future. But what I am going to say on this is, do I think that the United States and a handful of other countries have the capability of taking out Vladimir Putin in an assassination attempt? Yes, I do. I mean, obviously, we took out Saddam Hussein and other people and all this other stuff. I mean, Trump got several people in the Taliban and Al-Qaeda and whatever, all this other stuff. But
Biden got an Afghan citizen in his family.
Yes, that's true. He did. But I do not believe at whatever time it is right now, 7:20 p.m. Central Standard on Sunday, whatever the hell day this is, I do not think that any of those countries that have those capabilities are ready to go there. Now, if this continues, it gets worse, give it a week or two, a month, and it's still going, then that can change. But I'm just saying right now, I do not believe anybody is ready to go there. And then question I have for you, Chase, okay, say you take out Mr. Putin. Who comes in next? Do we know that person, or do we think of the handful of people that I'm sure people with the intelligence and the CIA and all that know who would be likely to be in charge, do we know that they would be any better? Because, like, for instance, when everybody thought Kim Jong-un was dead, and actually he was just, like, hiding from Rona or whatever, but there was several months where they literally, people had not seen him, not heard from him, and there was a lot of people, I mean, major networks, thinking that he had died. Kim is not the bad one. His sister, if she takes over, she way batshit crazier than him. So my question is you take him out, is the next people, because somebody got to be president or dictator or autocrat or whatever, are they worse or are they better?
I think I'm going to cling on to one thing you said. Somebody has to be president next. I think best case scenario for the West is that there's an absolute civil war in Russia over who is going to be the next president and or dictator. That destabilizes Russia, and it's terrible for Russia. Civil wars are never good, but it is the best case scenario for Ukraine, NATO, everybody else.
No, that's not a bad deal, and you probably know more about this than I do. I do know that Russia has tried to overthrow Putin many times, and he just changes what his office is and rigs the election, or literally the guy that's the biggest person against him, he poisoned him, it didn't kill him, but he literally almost killed the guy that speaks out against him most and has the most backers on. This was just a few months ago. This legitimately happened.
He's got a tight grip, and he will hold nothing back. You know how paranoid he has to be every single day he wakes up and when he goes to sleep at night? I hope he's living an awful life.
Yeah.
That is my hope. We've gone a little long. Chase,
Jesus.
I appreciate you being on there. Ryan, thank you. And we do have the State of the Union Tuesday. So, Ryan, I'm going to be asking maybe another Beyond the Circus sooner than later, depending on what your fearless leader, Joe, has to say. We will be obviously back.
Can't you just get some political pundit to fill in for me on these?
No.
It's
We
not
can get
good
that.
for
We can
my
get
health.
that. We can get that on the news. You're
It's
much
not good
different
for my health.
No,
It's
it's
not
not
good for
good
my health.
I thought it might help me, but it didn't.
It's not good for my health. I'm just
It did
saying.
not help.
Ryan, if it makes you feel any better, I could do a Beyond the Circus with him if you were burnt out.
I just
I wouldn't put you through that, Chase.
I literally came here and I was like, I don't even care because nothing we say, whatever. Then y'all got me halfway into this and I just Lord, I thought my head was going to explode and y'all were going to have to call 911 to come get me at this casino in Durant, Oklahoma. It was terrible. But I survived, so. And I don't know if I need to watch the State of the Union because, I'm telling you, I could probably get violent, but I probably will. So
I'm going to watch it, and I think I have it's sale night.
Mm-hmm.
I have a sale that night. I don't know what time the State of the Union usually comes on.
He doesn't either right now.
No, he probably doesn't. No, maybe I won't. Maybe that'd be the best thing for me is I'm occupied with the sale, and I don't listen to that.
Well, thank you, Chase, for coming on, and thank you, Dale, for not being too rantish.
No, and you're excited that I drug you into this one. Literally, drug you into
literally.
This
one. The most excited.
I appreciate everybody that's tuned in. Until the next Beyond the Circus, be safe.
Y'all come back now, you hear?